Have you ever stood up from a chair and felt like your legs just didn't have the power they used to? It's not always aging. It's not always inactivity. And it's definitely not always just how it is. What if I told you there are certain vitamins, nutrients you may believe are helping you, that could actually be quietly robbing your legs of strength, mobility, and stability as you age? This might sound surprising, even counterintuitive, because we're trained to think more vitamins equal more health. But the truth is, not all nutrients work the same in every body. Especially after 60, your physiology changes, your absorption changes, even how your mitochondria, those tiny powerhouses inside your muscle cells, respond to certain inputs can shift dramatically with age. There are two commonly consumed vitamins, often taken in isolation or excess, that can subtly weaken the legs by interfering with muscle signaling, nerve conduction, or mineral balance. And most people have no idea. These vitamins are usually labeled as safe, sometimes even essential, yet in the wrong context or quantity, they can promote the very weakness you're trying to avoid. Weakness that leads to instability, increased fall risk, slower recovery, and less confidence in your movement. Now, this doesn't mean you should fear vitamins. Your body needs them, but in balance, in synergy, and with a deep understanding of how they function within the ecosystem of your cells. Functional health isn't about taking more, it's about taking what's right for your body at your stage of life. So why does this matter so much for seniors? Because after 60, the body becomes more sensitive to imbalances, especially ones that affect muscle coordination, blood flow, and neuromuscular integrity. These two overlooked vitamins can disrupt all three if they're not monitored. And the consequences aren't minor. You may experience cramps at night, trembling when standing, or even a feeling of heaviness in the thighs or calves that just wasn't there before. These are often early warning signs that something isn't quite right at the nutritional level, something that needs attention before it progresses into a bigger issue, like sarcopenia or mobility loss. And here's another insight you won't hear from mainstream advice. These vitamin-induced weaknesses don't always show up in blood work. They show up in function, in how well you rise from bed, how stable you feel when walking, how quickly you recover after a long day on your feet. That's where the truth lives, in your lived experience, not just your lab results. Today I'll walk you through the real science behind these two commonly misunderstood vitamins, how they can impact your muscle strength, and most importantly, what to do instead. I'll also share natural protocols that support stronger legs, better nerve communication, and improved recovery, all rooted in how the body is naturally designed to heal itself. This is not about eliminating essential nutrients. It's about understanding their context, because when you align your nutrition with how your body actually works, especially in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, you give yourself the power to move better, age slower, and live with more freedom. If you care about sleeping deeper, healing faster, and aging with energy, make sure to watch until the end, and subscribe so you don't miss the natural wisdom your body is craving. Let's begin with something that's widely praised, but rarely questioned, vitamin D. You've probably heard it referred to as the sunshine vitamin, essential for strong bones, immune defense, and mood stability. And that's all true. But what you're not often told is that vitamin D, especially in high doses and without proper balance, can quietly disrupt the very strength and mobility you're trying to preserve, especially in your legs. Here's what's happening in your body. Vitamin D plays a critical role in helping your body absorb calcium. But calcium, while necessary, doesn't belong in your muscles, arteries, or soft tissues. It needs to be guided into the right places, primarily your bones and teeth. This guiding role is handled by cofactors, particularly vitamin K2 and magnesium. And without those, things start to go wrong. Magnesium is especially crucial here. It acts like a biological switch that activates vitamin D, helping it convert into its usable form, calcitriol. Without enough magnesium, this process stalls. You might take more and more D, thinking you're helping your bones or immunity, but instead you're creating an imbalance. The vitamin D sits in your system, pulling calcium into circulation, while magnesium deficiency silently grows, leading to muscle tightness, spasms and weakness, particularly in the legs, where large muscle groups are constantly under load. This is why so many people over 60 report feeling more leg cramps, stiffness, or fatigue, even as they increase their D intake. The muscle fibers become more irritable, nerve signals don't fire smoothly, and blood vessels constrict more easily due to calcium's role in muscular contraction, without proper relaxation from magnesium. There's research to back this up. A 2018 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition highlighted that magnesium deficiency reduces the effectiveness of vitamin D supplementation, and more importantly, that correcting magnesium status enhances vitamin D metabolism, while reducing the risk of calcification. That's especially relevant to seniors, where vascular and muscular flexibility already tend to decline with age. If you've been taking vitamin D, especially doses above 2000 IU per day, and you're not actively consuming magnesium-rich foods or supplementing with the right type, you may be setting the stage for leg weakness, poor recovery, and even nighttime restlessness that keeps you from sleeping deeply. So what can you do? Start by supporting your magnesium levels through real food. Dark leafy greens like spinach and Swiss chard, pumpkin seeds, avocado, and even a small square of high-quality dark chocolate can help. But food alone may not be enough, especially if you're under stress, using certain medications, or have a history of low energy or insomnia. In that case, magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate are well-absorbed forms that can support muscle relaxation and nervous system recovery. And timing matters too. Take your magnesium in the evening, ideally with your last meal. This supports not just muscle relaxation, but better sleep and more efficient tissue repair overnight. Remember, your legs don't just need strength, they need recovery. And recovery is magnesium's domain. You don't need to fear vitamin D. It's powerful, but only when it's supported. This is how your body was designed, not to rely on isolated nutrients, but to work in synergy, with each piece activating the next. Healing doesn't happen from adding more. It happens from restoring balance. If this is helping you see health differently, tap the like button. It helps us reach more people who need this. Ready to go deeper? Next, we'll talk about a vitamin you probably associate with energy, but in the wrong form and the wrong dose, it can actually create tingling, numbness, and subtle weakness in your legs. That's where we'll go next. Now let's turn our attention to a vitamin that often hides in plain sight. Vitamin B6. It's marketed for energy, brain support, even PMS relief. But what's rarely discussed is that too much of it, especially in its synthetic form, can quietly damage your peripheral nerves, particularly the ones that support balance, coordination, and muscle activation in your legs. This isn't a theory, it's a well-documented physiological reality, and it affects older adults more than any other group. Vitamin B6 is critical for many things: neurotransmitter production, amino acid metabolism, even red blood cell function. But here's the catch: most over-the-counter supplements, multivitamins, and B-complex blends use a synthetic form called pyridoxine hydrochloride. Unlike the natural, active form, P5P, or pyridoxal 5-phosphate, this synthetic version must be converted by your liver before it can be used. And as you age, that conversion slows down. The result? You accumulate an unusable version of B6 in your system, and that buildup can turn toxic to your nerves. Research published in Neurotoxicology and other peer-reviewed journals confirms that long-term use of high-dose pyridoxine, even at seemingly moderate levels, like 50 to 100 milligrams per day, can lead to sensory neuropathy. That means numbness, tingling, burning, or even weakness in the hands and feet. And for someone over 60, who may already be dealing with decreased circulation or minor nerve degeneration, this adds another layer of risk. What's happening in your body is this: excess synthetic B6 accumulates in the bloodstream. Over time, it disrupts how nerves conduct electrical signals, especially the long nerves that reach into your legs and feet. You may feel off balance, You may start to shuffle more when you walk, or you might feel as if your legs fall asleep more easily, especially at night. These aren't random signs, they're your body's way of saying something isn't right with your nutrient signaling. And what makes this so tricky is that most people don't suspect their vitamins. They may even take more, hoping it'll fix their fatigue or brain fog, when in fact, it's slowly interfering with how their body moves and recovers. Even more frustrating, standard blood tests don't always catch functional B6 toxicity, especially when symptoms are still mild. So what's the protocol? First, check your supplement labels. If your multivitamin or B complex lists pyridoxine hydrochloride, that's your clue. Consider switching to a form that uses P5P, the bioactive version that your body can actually use right away. It's gentler, more efficient, and far less likely to accumulate to toxic levels. Second, don't megadose unless medically guided. The recommended daily intake for B6 in adults over 50 is just 1.5 to 1.7 milligrams. Yet many energy supplements push 20, 50, even 100 milligrams per serving. More isn't better when it comes to nerves. The body runs on precision, not excess. And third, eat for your nerves. Real food sources of B6 include wild-caught salmon, grass-fed liver, chickpeas, sunflower seeds, and bananas. These foods provide B6 in forms your body recognizes and balances naturally, alongside other cofactors like folate, magnesium, and zinc that support nerve repair and energy metabolism. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Your body is designed to heal itself, but only when it's given nutrients in a form and dose it can actually use. When you align with nature, the body responds beautifully. Subscribe if you're learning something new, because there's more natural healing wisdom to come. In the next section, we'll explore how these vitamin imbalances don't just affect the nerves or minerals, but go even deeper, all the way into the mitochondria of your muscle cells. That's where we'll uncover the true root of leg fatigue, and how to restore lasting strength from the inside out. Let's now go deeper, beyond nerves and minerals, and into the very engines of your muscle cells, the mitochondria. These microscopic structures are where your body produces energy, real, usable energy, in the form of ATP. And nowhere is this process more important than in your legs. Why your legs? Because your legs house some of the largest muscles in your body, the quadriceps, hamstrings, calves. These are the muscles responsible for walking, standing, climbing stairs, and maintaining balance. Every time you move, your leg muscles call on your mitochondria to produce energy instantly and efficiently. But when mitochondria start to falter, you don't just feel tired, you feel weak, unstable, and slower to recover. That heaviness you might feel after a short walk, that's mitochondrial stress. Now here's the key. Vitamins play a huge role in mitochondrial health, but only when they're in balance. Let's take vitamin D and B6 again. In small appropriate amounts, they support mitochondrial activity, but in excess, or without their nutritional partners, they begin to throw off your cell's energy chemistry. Excess vitamin D, without sufficient vitamin K2, can encourage calcium to accumulate in soft tissues, including within muscle fibers and around blood vessels. This calcification stiffens tissues and limits oxygen flow, making it harder for mitochondria to generate ATP. Meanwhile, too much synthetic B6, as we discussed, can impair nerve signaling, which directly disrupts the way mitochondria get their instructions. Remember, mitochondria don't work in isolation. They respond to electrical and chemical signals sent by your nervous system. If those signals become distorted, the mitochondria become sluggish, inefficient, like a dimming light bulb trying to stay on. There's also another layer to this mitochondrial enzymes. Your mitochondria use specialized enzymes to convert nutrients into energy. These enzymes require cofactors, magnesium, B2, riboflavin, CoQ10, and trace minerals to function properly. If you're overloading one vitamin, like B6 or D, without the full nutritional team, you disrupt the enzyme system. Think of it like trying to bake a cake with 10 cups of flour and no eggs. It just won't rise. So what does this mean for your legs? It means the fatigue you feel, the unsteady gait, the wobble when standing, the long recovery after walking, may not be from aging alone. It could be from underpowered mitochondria stressed by nutritional imbalances that slowly chip away at your strength and stamina. The fix isn't more stimulants or more protein powders. It's supporting your body's natural energy systems. Here's how you can start. First, nourish your mitochondria with synergy. Combine magnesium, riboflavin, B2, and CoQ10 into your daily routine, either through food or thoughtful supplementation. Leafy greens, pastured eggs, wild-caught fish, and grass-fed meats are rich in these nutrients, and eat the mitochondria directly. Second, move your legs daily, even gently. Mitochondria multiply in response to demand. A brisk walk, light cycling, or resistance band exercises can actually grow the number and strength of mitochondria in your leg muscles, improving endurance and recovery. And finally, time your nutrition. Your mitochondria perform much of their repair work at night. Eating a light, nutrient-dense dinner, high in vegetables, healthy fats, and clean protein, supports mitochondrial repair while you sleep. Avoid late-night sugars or alcohol, which disrupt mitochondrial function and steal from your recovery window. Your body doesn't need to be forced into energy. It needs to be allowed. And when your nutrients are balanced, your mitochondria become what they were always meant to be. Quiet power generators, restoring your strength from the inside out. If this resonated with you, take a moment to like this video. It helps others find this kind of natural wisdom too. In the next section, we'll look at how peripheral nerve health is deeply tied to vitamin synergy, and what happens when those nerves in your legs lose their sharpness due to long-term nutritional confusion. By now, you can start to see the pattern. Your body isn't malfunctioning, it's responding. When vitamins are out of sync, especially over time, they don't just disrupt muscle power or energy production, they begin to compromise one of the most overlooked yet vital systems in your body, your peripheral nerves. These are the nerves that travel from your spinal cord out to your limbs, including the ones that control and sense movement in your legs. They're responsible for detecting ground pressure, stabilizing your gait, and triggering muscle fibers at precisely the right moment. And they're extremely sensitive to nutritional balance, particularly as you age. Now here's what most people miss. Long-term use of isolated vitamins, even essential ones, can impair these peripheral nerves if they aren't metabolized properly or buffered by their natural partners. Let's go back to B6. When pyridoxine, the synthetic form, builds up in your system, it begins to degrade the protective sheathing around your nerves, the myelin. Myelin acts like insulation on electrical wires. Without it, signals get weak, delayed, or lost entirely. You might notice a delayed response in your reflexes, a hesitation when stepping off a curb, or an odd buzzing or tingling in your lower legs. These are not just random sensations. They're signs of mild demyelination. And the good news is, it's often reversible when you stop the overload and support nerve repair. Then there's vitamin D in excess without proper calcium and magnesium balance. It can tighten small blood vessels that feed peripheral nerves, especially in the legs and feet. This restricts circulation, which is already a concern for many seniors dealing with borderline blood sugar or low hydration. Nerves need oxygen, nutrients, and waste removal. Just like any other tissue, starve them of that, and they become sluggish, unresponsive, and eventually damaged. So how do we nourish the nerves instead? Start by giving them what they truly crave: balance. B vitamins work best as a family. If you're supplementing, use a complex that includes active forms: B1 thiamine, B2 riboflavin, B3 niacinamide, B5 pantothenic acid, B6 sp5p, B7 biotin, B9 methylfolate, and B12 as methylcobalamin. This way, your body receives the full network, not a single megadose that overwhelms your system. Second, restore fat-based nutrients. Your nerves are wrapped in fat, literally. Omega-3 says from wild-caught salmon, sardines, or fish oil support myelin repair and reduce inflammation around nerve endings. So does choline, found in pastured egg yolks, and alpha-lipoic acid, which improves blood flow to nerve tissue and helps detoxify mitochondria. And third, gently stimulate your nerves. Don't let them go silent. Walking barefoot on natural surfaces like grass or sand, practicing balance drills with your eyes closed, or even alternating hot and cold foot baths can wake up dormant nerves and improve sensory feedback. These small practices send powerful messages to your nervous system. We're still active, we still matter. If you felt like your legs aren't responding like they used to, slower, heavier, more clumsy, it may not be weakness at all. It might be impaired signaling. And when you restore the health of your nerves, your strength often returns right along with it. You don't need to fight your body, just understand it. And when you understand how your nerves work, you'll see that healing isn't about doing more. It's about doing what aligns with how your body was designed to function. Subscribe if this is opening your eyes, because we still have more to uncover. In the next section, we'll explore how cramps, twitching, and nighttime leg weakness often reveal a deeper conflict between your vitamin intake and your mineral status, and what to do about it starting tonight. Let's talk about something almost everyone over 60 has felt at some point: that sharp, sudden leg cramp that wakes you from sleep, or the dull, heavy feeling in your legs as the evening wears on. Maybe your calves feel tight after a walk, or your thighs ache more after just a short time standing. These sensations aren't random. They're signals, often pointing to a deeper conflict between your vitamin intake and your mineral status. And the culprit isn't always dehydration or just getting older. More often, it's nutritional imbalance. Let's revisit vitamin D again. It's deeply involved in calcium metabolism, which is why many people take it for bone health. But here's the part you're not told: when you increase your vitamin D, whether through supplementation or fortified foods, it tells your body to absorb more calcium from the digestive tract. That calcium then enters your bloodstream. But unless it's guided into your bones and buffered properly, it can start settling in places it doesn't belong, like your muscles, your joints, or even your blood vessels. And this is where minerals like magnesium and potassium become so important. Magnesium helps your muscles relax. Potassium helps regulate electrical signaling across muscle fibers. If either is low, and they often are in seniors, then that extra calcium triggered by vitamin D doesn't help, it hurts. It contributes to tightness, spasms, or that aching, restless leg sensation that seems to flare up at night when the body is trying to repair itself. And here's what's happening physiologically: your muscles are constantly in a state of contraction and release. Every step, every shift in posture depends on that rhythm. Calcium is what triggers contraction. Magnesium is what tells it to stop. Potassium fine-tunes the signal. Without enough of these counterbalancing minerals, your muscles can't fully relax. They remain partially contracted, leading to fatigue, cramping, and even low-grade inflammation. Research in Nutrients and the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine shows that magnesium deficiency, particularly in older adults, is linked to nighttime cramps, insomnia, and impaired muscle recovery. And yet magnesium is depleted easily by stress, caffeine, certain blood pressure medications, and yes, excessive vitamin D without adequate cofactors. B6 adds another wrinkle. Excess B6 can lower your body's potassium retention, further contributing to that mineral loss spiral. So while you might be chasing energy through vitamins, you may be unknowingly draining the very minerals that stabilize your legs and protect your muscles. So what's the protocol? First, rebalance. If you're taking vitamin D, always pair it with magnesium. Ideally 300-400 milligrams daily of magnesium glycinate or citrate, and make sure your diet includes potassium-rich foods like avocados, cooked spinach, wild-caught salmon, and coconut water without added sugars. Second, cut your last meal off at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. This gives your body time to transition into repair mode without blood sugar spikes that can interfere with mineral absorption and nerve signaling overnight. Third, create a calm, mineral-supportive evening routine. Consider a warm bath with Epsom salts, a natural source of magnesium sulfate. followed by a calming herbal tea like chamomile or lemon balm. This supports deeper sleep and better muscle recovery without drugs. Your legs are not failing you, they're asking for balance. And once you restore the mineral terrain your muscles depend on, you'll find that those cramps fade, your legs feel lighter, and your sleep becomes deeper. Not because you forced it, but because you finally gave your body what it needed to function as it was designed. If this is resonating with you, leave a comment below. Let me know if these symptoms sound familiar. And if you haven't already, subscribe. This channel is here to remind you, healing is possible, and your body is wiser than you've been told. In our final section of the core body, we'll bring it all together and show how leg strength returns when nutrients are not maximized, but harmonized. We've talked about the subtle harm that too much vitamin D or synthetic B6 can cause, how they disrupt your muscle energy, nerve communication, and mineral balance. But now, let's shift the focus to what brings strength back, not through more pills, but through balance, timing, and understanding. Because your body is not a machine that needs to be pushed harder. It's a living ecosystem designed to heal, adapt, and thrive when given the right signals. And in many cases, especially as we age, the missing signal isn't more, it's better aligned. When people feel weakness in their legs, the first instinct is often to take a supplement. More calcium, more vitamin D, maybe another B complex. But unless those nutrients are harmonized with their cofactors, absorbed properly, and delivered at the right time, they often end up doing more harm than good. Let's go back to the big picture. Muscle strength doesn't come from a single nutrient. It comes from a network. Magnesium to relax, potassium to stabilize, vitamin D to absorb, vitamin K2 to direct, B vitamins to fuel energy metabolism, and omega-3s to protect nerve linings. The body thrives on synergy, not isolation. For example, you could be taking a bone support supplement with high vitamin D and calcium, but if you're not getting enough vitamin K2, that calcium may be hardening your arteries or stiffening your joints, not strengthening your legs. Similarly, you might take B6 for energy, but if it's in the wrong form or dose, it can slowly impair your leg nerves rather than energize them. So how do you restore balance and reclaim strength? You simplify, you stop megadosing. You begin feeding your body what it naturally recognizes: whole foods, targeted supplements, and smart rhythms. Start your day with a breakfast that includes healthy fats and clean protein. Eggs cooked in olive oil, half an avocado, maybe some lightly cooked greens. These are real nutrients your body knows how to use. At lunch, focus on potassium-rich and magnesium-dense foods. A big salad with spinach, pumpkin seeds, and wild-caught salmon provides a nutritional matrix that feeds your mitochondria and calms your nerves. And for dinner, keep it light, anti-inflammatory, and digestion-friendly. Sautéed zucchini, a small portion of pasture-raised chicken, and a side of cooked beets. Avoid sugars and starches late at night. They spike insulin and block mineral uptake when your body most needs to recover. If you do supplement, focus on balance. Look for D3 with K2, B complexes with active forms like methylfolate and P5. And never forget your magnesium. Even a small dose of magnesium glycinate an hour before bed can support relaxation, nerve repair, and deeper sleep, all of which restore the strength of your legs over time. Movement also matters. When you walk, your muscles pump blood and lymph through your legs. Even 5 minutes of gentle stair-stepping, heel raises, or slow squats each day can signal your body to rebuild and protect those tissues. You don't need a gym, you need intention. The most powerful shift happens not when you add more noise to your health routine, but when you listen more carefully. Ask, is my body tight or tired, restless or weak, responsive or dull? These are clues. When nutrients are balanced, the body becomes sharp again. You feel it in the legs first. Quicker to rise, more stable on steps, less prone to trembling or heaviness by day's end. You don't need to guess anymore. Now you know. If this is helping you reconnect with your body's wisdom, take a second to like the video. It lets YouTube know this message matters. Coming up next, the final conclusion, where we'll tie everything together and give you a natural action plan you can start tonight. Let's take a breath and step back now. What we've covered isn't just a list of vitamins or side effects. It's a deeper story, one about how your body communicates with you and how your choices, especially in nutrition, either support or silence that communication. You've learned that vitamin D, while essential, becomes problematic when taken without its partners, magnesium and vitamin K2. On its own, it can lead to cramping, stiffness, and even soft tissue calcification, especially in the legs, where your largest muscles demand fluid coordination. You've seen how synthetic B6, pyridoxine hydrochloride, taken in excess can subtly interfere with nerve conduction, impairing the electrical flow to your legs, and leading to tingling, weakness, and delayed reaction time. And you now know this isn't a random occurrence, but a cumulative overload that many older adults unknowingly experience. You've also explored the role of mitochondria, those inner engines that power your muscles. When overburdened by nutrient imbalances, or undernourished by missing cofactors, they can't produce the strength your legs rely on. And yet, with the right food, timing, and rhythm, those very mitochondria can multiply and come back stronger. You've seen that your peripheral nerves, especially those reaching into your feet and lower legs, are not immune to imbalance. They depend on real fats, full-spectrum B vitamins, circulation, and gentle stimulation to remain sharp and stable. And perhaps most revealing, you've learned that nighttime cramps, twitching, and restless legs are more than a nuisance. They are a precise message from your muscles and minerals, telling you something is out of sync, not permanently broken, but needing attention. So what now? You take this knowledge and begin integrating it, one small change at a time. Tonight, prepare a meal that supports leg recovery. Wild salmon, steamed spinach with olive oil, half avocado. Skip the wine and sugar. Instead, sip calming tea and take your magnesium with dinner. Let your body know, I'm listening. Then tomorrow, move your leg, even for 5 minutes. Feel your heels connect with the ground. Let the blood move through your calves. That sensation, warmth, motion, presence, is the beginning of healing. And when you reach for supplements, look closely. Choose forms that your body actually recognizes. D3 with K2, B6 as P5P, B12 as methylcobalamin, magnesium in glycinate or citrate form. This isn't about taking more. It's about taking what's aligned with how your body works now. Not how it worked at 30, but how it can thrive at 60, 70, and beyond. Because your body is not deteriorating, it's adapting. And when you respect that, when you feed it wisely, move it mindfully, and sleep with purpose, it will surprise you. Your strength will return. Your balance will improve. Your energy will stretch further into the day. There's no need to fear your age. You're not meant to decline. You're meant to refine. So here's your natural health challenge. For the next 7 nights, add magnesium-rich foods to your dinner. Avoid synthetic B6, and go for a short leg-focused walk before sunset. Track how your legs feel in the morning. Pay attention to the way your body responds when you restore harmony instead of forcing change. If you found this helpful, let us know in the comments. What will you try first? And don't forget to subscribe and join this journey of natural healing and healthy aging. Your body is ready. You just need to give it what it needs.